Yeah. And here we are. Ooh, I really got to see the hair and makeup team. I mean, I'll just do this. Woo. I almost let it go in 2020. Some might say you've let it go a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, but like in 2020, some stuff was going on. And I remember I was considering like, maybe I'll just stop. Maybe I'll just let it go. I mean, look at that. I really gotta. And yeah, I mean, I have kind of right now. This is really what we're on for. I'm gonna kind of cover that up here. Here's what I'll do. We'll get our nice Couch Riffs baseball hat, trucker hat, and I can't wear baseball hats. I'm not pulling this off. It's not a good look. Because, we could go, here's why. We go like, we do this. All right, okay, excellent. So, yeah, we're not going to party on Wayne, party on Garth, and party on all of you. I can't stop messing with this. I probably should have before I started all this, but, whatever. We're here. Ooh, Justin asks the important questions. What's for breakfast? Well, we have a banana. A fun way to open a banana. Fun way to peel off a banana. Or I love doing that because, people are always like, whenever someone's eating a banana, it's like, oh, behave. And I think if you do it like that, if somebody's watching, specifically like a dude, I think, or maybe it's just me, because we're, kind of programmed, where it's like, oh, you broke it. So we've got currently half a banana. We've got some yogurt. We've got a yogurt experiment. Sean, that's an awesome Wayne impersonation with the hat. See? So I can't wear baseball hats anymore. And I don't know. It wasn't a good look, which is kind of a bummer because it would be nice to make that work. So yes. So speaking of like impersonations of things and like, whatever, it reminds me of my buddy Mike Potvin from Potvin Guitars. He makes and sells guitars, and also fantastic guitar building templates. And Mike, one of his many redeeming qualities is he's Canadian, and every Canadian I've ever met is super nice and just lovely and the greatest. And Mike is no exception to that. And he confirmed for me that if you want to do, your Canadian accent, you do the novelty like Rick Moranis kind of thing. And so that's what Mike says, and I believe him because he's not going to steer you or me wrong. So so yogurt experiment. Let's talk about that. I do actually have some things to talk about. Checking in. Potvin templates are kick ass. Can confirm. There are some templates. I don't know if he still offers, but when he was getting into the template game, we would kind of talk back and forth about little different things. And the recessed Floyd template, he was nice enough to have me help him with. And there was this one, there's one template that he made for me. God, this was so long ago. It was like a string through hole template. And now he might still offer these. And this one, so you had like the two holes for your tune-o-matic bridge posts. And then there was an array of just different holes. And I remember telling Mike, I'm like, let's do one where you've got an option to do 6 holes straight across the bottom. Jeff H says, come on, thumbs up. I don't know what that means, but there you go. Thank you, Jeff. And so we had a row of holes going across the bottom, and then I'm like, what about a V? So then we had like holes that would allow you to, so like your E holes would stay the same, and then you would have the stagger to make the V pattern. And then I think there was one for like if you wanted like a 3-3 offset, so like 3 on the bottom and then like 3 like had that. And I had that somewhere. Like I've just got boxes and boxes and boxes of templates still. Sometimes I go through them and get rid of some, but that was one that I am as sure as I can be that I still have that one. I think that was a helpful, nice little thing. And I just got rid of the only napkin that I had. This is going great. We'll get to the yogurt experiment in a little bit. So here's how my day started off. FedEx. More like fed up, am I right? Our current FedEx driver I generally just see one person. Sometimes there's one other. One thing that I've noticed, is at times, and this has happened, if you have a regular driver, there's a familiarity, and most of what comes to the shop requires a signature. And templates are fun. MDF, not so much. Yes. Let's turn on auto scroll. There we go. So you get like a FedEx driver, they build like a familiarity, and you see them, almost every day. And so sometimes, when things have to be signed for, sometimes the driver will sign it as they're unloading packages. I don't like that. I don't like it. You know why? Because sometimes this has happened twice now. I had something come back from paint. I'm watching the tracking on my app, and says delivered and signed for by me. I know that didn't happen. So I'm like, this is bad. So I go out of the shop. This is how you do it. Go out of the shop and face down on the ground is the guitar. I mean, in a box and all that. The CNCs weren't running. We weren't doing loud work, because I can understand to an extent if the machines are running, somebody might not want to come in because of the noise. I do understand that. However, everybody does come in. the thing that really, really, really made me upset was that it was signed for by me, and I know I didn't sign for it. Anyway, flash forward to this morning. I have some wood shipments coming. They were both, this is really exciting, isn't it? They were both scheduled, they were showing out for delivery yesterday. And now our FedEx person usually shows up before like the late afternoon, usually before like 2 o'clock. Assuming there isn't an evil twin version of Sully, probably with a beard, not to be trusted. Yeah, that could happen. I don't know. I don't want to rule it out. What if I'm the evil Sully? Oh. What if there's a nice Sully who's like got a 401k? Huh. Who can run that far? So anyway, I had these 2 packages that were scheduled out for delivery yesterday. They're not, like, by 3 o'clock, I'm like, these aren't showing up today. And so I stuck around until about 5:45, left, went home. And I checked my FedEx app this morning, and one of those 2 things showed delivered. What? At 7:18 p.m. What? Delivered to whom? I'm signed for by Jason. What? Now, maybe what Steve is suggesting, that there was an evil Sully, it's possible. But if there is a Bizarro Sully does not have keys to Sully guitars. So I didn't notice a Bizarro Sully when I left hanging out in front of the door. Maybe Bizarro Sully shows up when Sully is like 100% gone from the scene. Don't know. Because I'm gone. I don't know. And so this is like 6 a.m. and I'm like, what the? So I drive to the shop. This shipment of wood is leaned up against the wall outside overnight. What the hell? It's not cool. I'm fortunate that the package was there. Again, this is really riveting stuff, I know. I'm fortunate that the package was there because, like, if it wasn't, I have no recourse. Oh, well, we said it was delivered and signed for by you. Well, it fucking wasn't. Anyway, so I called FedEx, this is my second driver complaint. But for the same issue. And so, and then I got on to Twitter, or is it X? Are we calling it X now? Who cares? There's a good meme, so I'll keep that to myself. And so I, opened a case with FedEx, and because, like, look, I'm not trying to get anybody fired. I just want someone to, like, not be a liar. Just not be a liar. So I don't know if that means that, like, all ground shipments I have to now have held at a location for pickup, which would suck because the FedEx location that is nearest me, like the actual FedEx, like a good old Walgreens or whatever, I don't want to do that. The closest one near the shop is like a half an hour in the other direction. And because, like, when you have something held at a location, again, I know this is so riveting. When you have something held at a location, it will give you options that are within a certain mile radius of your delivery location. I would much prefer to have it held at the location nearest my house, which is where I drop stuff off to be shipped at FedEx. Don't you just have your guy pick up? I used to. So I guess, like, I gotta. So that FedEx driver is why we can't have nice things, if you're wondering. So that's been my morning, and I drove to my drove to the shop in my. This is my evening wear. So there we go. Oh, this okay. Well, Batman von Richthofen, or is it Richthofen? Nobody knows. I think that is your real name, so that's cool. It's actually good info to watch out for. So that's nice. Oh, Fishy says it is interesting. Honestly, can't go UPS. I could. However, this was something that was sent to me, and I don't really have control over what shipping company they use. I do prefer to use FedEx because I've been with them for years. Their website is easy to create shipments with, or at least I'm used to creating shipments on their website, and like a lot of stuff, like when something goes out to paint, I include a return label. That's what this means. I include a return label. And the UPS website, because I got a UPS account because a couple of years ago, because I was really kind of over it with FedEx. And like, dude, they've like lost shit for me that was like, oh, we say it's delivered. I'm like, wasn't to fucking me. Like a guitar case. Anyway, so like with UPS, number one, the rep that I had at UPS, nice enough guy, he would call me all the fucking time. And like I've told him numerous times, like, dude, the machines are running. I don't have time to like talk about stuff. You can email me. You've got my email. And like their website is kind of a pain in the ass, specifically as it relates to return shipments. Like I can't create a shipping label and a return label to include with it. As if you can, maybe you can't. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm too pretty to know how to do that. It's possible. I'm too pretty to know how to do a lot of things. Let's be frank. Especially even on a morning like now. Please know I am kidding. But yeah, so like the UPS thing, and it's like I've tried to have like, so my FedEx it goes to the billing goes to a credit card, it's just automatically zapped, and like I know you can do all of this stuff with UPS. It's not readily the website isn't intuitive enough for me to figure it out, and I don't want to talk to my rep because like he always wants me to like get in front of a computer and I'll walk you through it. And it's well intended and like that's totally nice and I appreciate it on one hand, but like on the other hand, it's like you shouldn't. So that's my FedEx and UPS are crappy in their own ways. Yeah, I think it's just like, I know like there's some people like, oh, FedEx they break guitars, or UPS they break guitars. It's anytime you ship something. Yeah. What is this? Bob, return label or disco moves. Only you know the truth. Oh, yes. Oh, you got your 624. Bob, I'm glad. Bob got a really rad visible from space blue sparkle 624. Now, one of the things that I really like about that guitar and Bob's vision is, so number one, Bob's request of nickel hardware. Good job, Bob. Nickel, what's funny is my taste has changed over the years. I used to be like, I don't like nickel. I like chrome because it's brighter and it ages better and that sort of thing. Boy, did I switch. And I much prefer nickel for a few reasons. I think I like the softer look to it. And I do like how it wears because let's face it, we do a lot of, this sort of thing these days. And you can't really age chrome. Remind me to tell you about aging black hardware. That's a fun story. It's not really fun. It's an anecdote. Um, and so Bob's Blue Sparkle 624. We've got nickel hardware, and Bob wanted nickel covers. And now my question for Bob at the time was, so when it comes to nickel pickup covers, you can get shiny nickel or you can get raw nickel. Bob, being pretty great, he's like, let's go raw nickel. That was the correct answer, Bob. That's what I wanted for a few reasons. But one of the things that I love about sparkle and nickel covers, especially if you do like a raw, it adds a really cool visual texture. You've got a couple of different, it adds another visual texture because you've got like the visual texture of the sparkle, which is, sparkly, but it's also rough, because you have these rough, jagged pieces of metal that are illuminating your world. And then the raw nickel, it just adds this other softer, but another visual texture. And I just love that. So right on, Bob. Right on. And I'm so glad that it arrived safely. I'm glad you enjoy it. And I hope it serves you well. Fishy says, nickel all day. Batman, business is really all about efficiency. I always prefer the intuitive web. Yeah, right? I mean, yeah. Again, the UPS rep is nice enough, but like, I don't want to have a webinar about using the website. Otherwise, I would use UPS because like our UPS driver's fine. And then there's a UPS location like right on my way home. So yeah, UPS via FedEx. Let's talk about yogurt, kids. The yogurt experience. Experiment. Like, Sully, we see you eat yogurt many Saturdays. Hang on. Okay, so wiping my face with a banana peel. The past couple of months, I've been actually all this year, but also it's intensified the past couple of months. I had my checkup in June. Yeah, I think so. Maybe late May, early June. Nobody knows. And there were a couple of numbers that we wanted to look at, see if we can bring down a little bit. Things that I knew that were going to be a little bit on the higher side. Cholesterol, I've had high cholesterol or higher elevated cholesterol. Don't do yogurt. Catfish, that is your problem. You should. Don't do yogurt. Fish, please. And so I knew it was going to be a little bit higher, but it was like better than it has been. And I think one of the reasons is because I quit drinking in January. That's right, I did. I'm glad I did. And so one of the things that I noticed that I would do in the evenings, Mrs. Sully and I are watching our British murder shows, is I would get like a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, just, like popcorn. It says right on the box, may help lower cholesterol. That is in line with my interests. And so, Justin, hang on about that. And so I get these results back and like my sugar numbers were like just on the threshold by like a tenth of a number of being pre-diabetic. Not interested. So what do we have to do? We have to look at our carbs and sugars. This is really exciting. We're covering a lot of things here. We're breaking bananas this way. We've learned that why I don't like to wear baseball hats, which is a bummer because I love couch riffs and I wear a hat. We've learned about FedEx. Now we're talking about our sugar levels and carbs. The problem is I'm open to making life changes. Sure. I don't want it to become a lifestyle. You know, it's like I don't like anything that also kind of like becomes this is your life. Sully, you look like you're in Whitesnake. I think that's Sully, you look like you were kicked out of Whitesnake. If I was in Whitesnake, I'd look a lot better because I'd have, probably a little bit more financial security. It has some, well, I'd at least have visited the hair and makeup team before doing this. What was I talking about? Open to making changes, but I don't like I don't want to say examples because I will just use them as an example, but then like I don't want to say I don't want to do this because like I don't want to appear like I'm putting that down. But like I think you get the point. And so we already said I started looking at labels a little bit more closely, specifically in the added sugars area. That's what this means, added sugars. That's when you look on the label, you circle this part. And so I looked at my box of Honey Nut Cheerios, had a lot of added sugar, like a lot. And that's only if you eat like a cup. And so I'm eating more than a cup, like it's like a bowl, no milk. But like, it's like a bowl. And I'm going back for a second. So I'm getting like a shitload of sugar. And so like, okay, so that's out. What do I replace it with? And so when I've done these sorts of things in the past, I get a little freaked out because then it's like, well, I was supposed to make all these changes. And I'm and looking at these labels and all that stuff, it's like paralysis. And it's like, okay, so that just means I can't eat anything. And that is not, but that's where I go. And then I'm like, ugh. So, and so we found some keto stuff. Like there's some like keto snack bars that are like chocolate or like, fake, not fake chocolate, but like, whatever, but it doesn't have a sugar in it. It doesn't have the carbs in it. And it doesn't have some of the other stuff. It does seem to be a little bit more natural, which is good. And so we found some cereal, some like keto chocolate cereal, which actually is really good. So that's nice. And one of the last things that had a fair amount of added sugar is the yogurt that I would have in the morning. We found first it's like, we would get non-fat vanilla yogurt. And while it doesn't have a fat, what does it have? Sugar. And so, and then like the stuff that we were getting, again, this is like who cares? And like the stuff that had a little bit less sugar also had aspartame. And then now there's this thing about aspartame where I know that like at the end of it all, like we're all going to die. And at the end of that study, it says, yes, there's aspartame. A lot of it isn't great for you. You would have to eat like pounds of it for it to have, those effects. And like, and I also know that's like the FDA or saying that, but like I look at like the other like other countries, like in Europe, and like if Japan is like banning it, because like Japan and like I think Europe generally cares about the people that live there. I don't don't think the same necessarily about in this country. And anyway, so we got to the point where I'm like, all right, so vanilla yogurt's out. And so we're going to, we actually have some relevant questions in a minute that we'll get to. So then I'm like, okay, let's get plain yogurt. And because like I have like frozen berries and stuff, and I put that in there, and I'm like, the berries probably give it enough. Really, kinda doesn't. So, and then I tried, well, let's try Greek yogurt, and like it's okay, but it's not quite the same. Which I'm okay with, not quite the same. But Mrs. Sully found fruit spread with no added sugar, and while it does have sugar in it, it doesn't have like a lot. It's like 10% of your daily value. So I'm cool with that. So that's what we're testing right now is frozen berries, a tablespoon of red raspberry fruit spread. That's fun to say. Red raspberry fruit spread from France, which, as we all know, I want to move to France. And so we're trying it, and it's getting there. We have a lot of, okay, so let's see. This just makes me sad. Wait, where'd it go? This one. Catfish. I've known catfish since we were like in 8th grade, so I can give them 7th grade. 8th grade? 7th grade. Nobody knows, so I can give them shit. Don't do yogurt. It's good for you. Or it's good, but now you understand what my whole problem. Batman fruit on the bottom, or add your own. I add my own. Justin, Sully going vegan confirmed. Here's where I run into some problems. If I liked more vegetables, I would be more open to it. Like I'm perfectly happy with eating like vegan stuff as long as it's something that I would normally want to eat. But like, I think this is not my joke, but I forget who said it, but I think it's just brilliant. I think we as a society are expecting way too much out of cauliflower. And I really, really don't like cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, zucchini, eggplant, asparagus, stuff like that. Rules out a lot of things. I wish that I did like them. It would make my life a lot easier. But I don't, and I gotta have some kind of balance. Yeah, so, that's kind of my thing as far as that goes. Let's see. Yes, but you can alter your diet and not be diabetic. I cannot. Well, that's a bummer. But then it is up to me to do what I can. Yes. Yeah, dude, totally get it. Aspartame's not good for you. Way better for a diabetic than regular sugar. I completely get it. Which is why I eat what I want and let the carbs fall where they may. Well, I don't know that that's the answer, but if that's where you are, that's where you are. So here's a relevant question, at least relevant to like guitar stuff. Have I thought of doing some kind of USA conspiracy series, like pre-made specs that people can buy for a more affordable price? Yes and no. So there are, like, I kind of do that with custom orders to an extent. And what I mean by that is we have our models, we have inlay options, we have some bridge options, we have some headstock options on some guitars, most. We have some pickup configuration options. and some construction options. We're going from a menu. We don't do very many one-off things for a few reasons. Number one, it takes a lot of extra time. And that time has to be recouped for something. It has to be recouped, which means it's going to be even more expensive. One-offs and especially neck-throughs are things that take just way longer than I want them to, just because there's just more work. They're way more involved. And yeah, the other thing with like one-offs is like if somebody has like a custom design or something like that, like if I don't like it, I'm not going to put my name on it. I'm certainly not going to put my headstock on it, because like I don't want to be associated with something that I don't want to, with a design that I don't like. I had to change that from something that I don't want to make. You know, and like on the other hand, affordable is relative, because when you look at other builders that do what I do and are like the same size, and also that do it full time, I am almost always, if not always, cheaper. The other thing is that with doing this work, especially for me now, where I've got overhead or more overhead with rent and payroll and things like that, things, you know, like we have to become a for-profit business. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a give me all your money and I don't care about anything or anyone and I'm just greedy. I'm not coming from that point. But like, if we're going to make things, in order to continue to make things, there has to be that it has to balance, right? Otherwise, we won't do it for very much longer. And so what do I do to try and make things a little bit easier? A few things. So we have our 622 model for people who are into like strats that that we make. Those are made in batches, so there's no construction options. So, you know, you can't get them rear routed. They all get pick guards. They all have the same bridge. Because they have a pick guard and a swimming pool route underneath it, you can pick whatever pickup configuration you want. I don't care. And I don't charge extra. Like if you order like a one humbucker or like hum single hum, or fuck, you want to order 3 humbuckers, I don't charge you anymore. You can pick the paint color. You can pick your pick guard color. You can go from plain maple, which is built into the cost. If you want roasted maple, if you want flame roasted maple, those are additional upgrades. But so those guitars start out at like 19, and a fully loaded one, that means like flame roasted maple neck and fretboard, Sullied hardware. Those top out at like 23, and that comes with a case, and we make them, and those are also plaqued, just like the other customs. I would like to think that well, I mean, like, I know that there are other companies out here that are on the same kind of playing field as I am, that charge more than $1,000+ more for that same thing. And so that is one thing that I do. Of course, if you want a 71 Trella instead of a 622, you got to go custom. And there's just no way around it. You know, again, on a comparison, pricing, I'm definitely on the lower end of the pricing spectrum. And the other thing too is like, I don't want someone to pay up in full upfront for their guitar. Like on some guitars, it's like 500 down, and then we take the rest of it and split it in half, and the second payment is due when the paintwork is done, and the final balance is due when the guitar is complete. Those last two payments are closer together than the first two payments. Payments 2 or 3 are closer together than payments 1 and 2. But it's split up. I've broken it down further for people. So as much as I would like to have a standard series, we're not at the point, and I don't know that a lot would have to happen, I think, for us to get at that point. But even if we do get to that point where it's like, okay, let's make 5 624s, and it's got standard specs and stuff, I think those prices would be the same, and then what would probably happen is the cost of customs would just go up, because there's only so many ways you can slice the cost of a guitar, because like I'm still like, it costs me money. And as I was saying before, the price has to make sense for us to continue making them. So there does have to be a margin, and it has to be sustainable. But yeah, like if we were at the point where we were just making batches of every model, and even if it's like 2 or 3, to be like a standard kind of thing, that would kind of become the business. That would become the big focus of the business, because there's at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not, if we're going to be the ones making them, it's like, okay, well, I can make this guitar that's a custom, or I can make this guitar that is like a standard series, but I can't make both at the same time. You know what I mean? Because there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so many days in the week, and so on and so forth. So like if there was another factory in the US that was maybe doing like the wood parts, making the bodies and necks, and then they get sent for finishing, and maybe we do assembly and setup, that might be a way to do it. But like, at this point, I don't want to do that. Because the other thing is, like, if you go and contract a company to do that, and there are tons of them, a lot of the there are many boutique considered companies that don't actually do the woodwork. We do. So if you're going to do that, seek out like one of the OEM factories to make your bodies and necks. They're not going to do 1 or 2. You'll have to get a minimum of whatever their minimum is. And so now I've got to find that money. And it's it would take a lot. And I think most of it is capital and resources for that sort of thing to happen. But like I said, when it comes down to it, if we were going to make like standard series and that be our main focus, and customs not be as much of our focus, the pricing would stay the same. It's just customs would go up. I think that's a good question. And I hope that my answer makes sense. Let's see what else we got. Gary, I used to do Greek yogurt, frozen berries, and oats. Then I got lazy and switched to Greek yogurt and fruit muesli almost every day for a decade now. I like it. But see, does your fruit muesli have like a shitload of sugar in it like they do in the States? Rodrigo, greetings from the land of Mote con Huesillo. Aloha. Justin, pour sugar on the vegetables. That's not the point. But maybe have the pricing of the options on the configurator. At this point, when someone sends a custom quote request through, that is an email that comes to me, and then I have all of the specs, and then I email that person back. Here's what the cost is, and here's what the options are. I prefer to do it that way for now, partially because, well, for a few reasons. Some of it actually is, well, just for a few reasons. The form, I guess it's a website limitation. I mean, I guess not. I can add, like in the drop downs, I can add what that price increase is, but like all of those things change. I mean, like the prices from my suppliers have changed so many times over the past couple of years. I can't spend the time constantly updating the website for that stuff, especially if I miss something, because I will. With all of the models that we've got and all of the custom quote forms there are for each model, I know that not all of the options are the same, because from guitar to guitar, not all of the options are the same. And as it is, this is kind of how it has to be for now. So if you don't want to put your name on something you don't like, does that mean I can get a Sully Jazzmaster? Oh, you. Let's see. I want a 24 fret compound radius speed neck and a Floyd. What's the most affordable way? Oh, and I'm a lefty. Well, yeah, that's tough. As far as compound radius fretboards go, we don't do them on customs. Some of that is because all of our frets are pre-cut, pre-radius, and undercut. They're cut to our taper. So I've got, hundreds of sets of these frets. And yes, on a compound radius fretboard, you can break it up to like maybe frets 1 through 4 are radius 10, and then frets 5 through 9 are 12, and then like frets 10 through 14 are like a 14, and then all the way up is like a 16. I could in theory do that, but then I'm gonna have to get all of those frets made, just because like I've got to keep there are processes that I have in place right now that help me get these guitars done and built as quickly as possible. One of those things is having our frets pre-cut. Lefty is never a problem. I will tell you right now, if you want, well, I don't know what model you're talking about, and there are definitely some options, and I can't have this become like a custom quote consultation. But oh wait, 5'10", 2-point trim. Okay, he makes total sense. I like the custom shop nature of it. Yes. I'm just gonna take this question off because we've kind of worked through this. Yes, and if I don't know what model you're looking for, but the final prices are pretty close to what the base prices are on the website. It really only changes when, like, if you add roasted maple, if you add, for the necks, if you add like a figured top, if you add a Floyd, if we go sparkle, if you add binding, those are really the biggest cost drivers. Let's see. Oh, can we see this whole comment? What if I do this? No, that is not it. Let's, we're going to exit full screen. So Sean's got a big statement here, so I'll fill it in. A lot of people will struggle with a $3,000 build, but can say with confidence that what a customer gets for the money would easily cost $4,000 or $5,000 or even more from other custom shops and not have the special Sully touch. Thank you. Well, thanks. That is called the Sully Gonculator. I don't know what is the Sully Gonculator. A lefty. Isn't that an incorrect? Oh, come on. We like our lefties. I mean, shit, two of our artists are, two of our lovely, long-standing artists are left-handed. And I am perfectly happy to make lefties. Um, it's funny. I do. Oh shit, we're running out of time. I have to write notes on the body blanks. I've talked about this before. Like on the machine, we do the backside first, and I will write, like control cavity over here with a line, and um, that works out okay. The only times I get a little turned around is if it's a lefty with a reverse headstock, or because we do a lot of reverse stuff, I have to kind of hold it this way and like which way. Okay, tuner's point up, tuner's point down. Okay, cool, that's right. The thing that I am most the easiest thing for me to screw up is where the side dots go, because I usually do those things um, a few at a time, and I kind of get used to going in a rhythm, and I'm like, damn it. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, Jim, this is actually something I wanted to share. Jim listened to the Fretboard Journal podcast to the end. It was fantastic. Thank you. I had a good time. Jason Verlinde is a really nice dude, and I enjoy speaking with him. I did listen to it because I love being on a podcast. But then I always go back and I'm like, okay, so how crazy did I sound? I sounded super crazy. I was real stream of consciousness. I, you notice that there are some pauses and things as I'm trying to it sounds like I either lost track of what I was trying to say. Really what's happening then is I'm trying to stay on track. I do need to get better at self-editing. But thank you for listening. And you can also listen to the Fretboard Journal podcast like lovely Jim. It's a Fretboard Journal podcast. It just went up just a couple days ago. Let's see. Gary, both my parents are lefties, so two wrongs can't make it right. That's great. And I just got a text. Let's see. Did I get them? I did not. Did I get a shipment? No. I didn't. It's supposed to be there Thursday. Guess what I no got? More things change. Jim says that's what made it fun. You're very kind. Exciting development. Actually, one of the things I talked about on that Fretboard Journal podcast was trademarking your stuff, and spent a lot of resources doing that over the years. And those are just things that you have to do. Not everybody does. And so I guess it's not one of those things that you have to do. It's one of the things that might be important to someone. It's important to me. Grover's texting me. Okay, thanks. So I have received from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office some additional stuff, and I am very happy to say that the 71 body shape is a recognized trademark from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Took me aback a bit, and I'm kind of it's giving me pause. And so the Stardust body shape is a trademark body shape, and that was recognized by the Patent and Trademark Office last summer, and filed all that stuff in end of December of 2020. And so the Stardust was approved, and the Trella, the 71 body shape, is trademarked, as is our Raven headstock. So it's kind of rad. That, you know, brings a whole bunch of other things with it, but you know, you see a lot on like internet, you know, discussions of things. Oh, you can't trademark body shapes. Bullshit. Sure you can. And I'm absolutely not the only person that has that, you know, but it was nice because, you know, that stuff costs money a lot, and I don't really have it. So it would have been a bummer if you know, you kind of spend the money and it's like, nah, because like you don't get that back. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, Dave's checking in. You know, and this is going to kick me off in like 3 minutes. Oops. Good morning, Dave DiLorenzo. Oops. Oh, there's a pink tiger stripe on Reverb. Should I hit it? That's one of the conspiracy series Elitas, I believe. Let's go look. Reverb. Let's look for Sully. Let's see what we get. Oh. God, why do people do that? Oh, I think I know this one. Finish features refinished. Why is that refinished? Refinished. Maybe, sorry, as I'm looking on this Reverb article, or this Reverb thing, it says finish features refinished. I think I know who this person is. So JB, this is a conspiracy series Elita, which is our production run, the Korean made guitars. I mean, yeah, it's a good deal especially for that. And I think I know that particular kid who's selling it. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see. Dave, hope the pre-orders for the conspiracy series are going well. Yeah, they're going well. Things can always go better. Like Mr. Burns said, I'd trade it all for a little more. But Dave reminds us that it's very important for all of you lovely people to go to sullyguitars.com in the conspiracy series tab on the navigation and pre-order your very own conspiracy series guitar. You would make me incredibly happy. You would make yourself incredibly happy when you get the guitar. Why? Because it's going to be a bitchin' guitar. And who doesn't like bitchin' guitars? Jerks. And you're not a jerk. Justin, does that include the headstock shape? Justin, the Raven headstock is trademarked. So, Catfish with the time check. This is going to end in 38 seconds. So I'm going to end as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day. I think there's probably stuff that I meant to cover but didn't. Actually, no, I think I covered a fair amount of things. So have a lovely day. You look gorgeous, as usual. You don't need me to tell you that. And enjoy your weekend. You know what? Enjoy your life.